Hello everybody, welcome in. Today's topic is going to be on Taylor Schabusiness. Now, some of you'll know Taylor Schabusiness, some of you'll know about the case, some of you know about the absolutely gruesome act that she did. But I'm going to talk about it because it was an absolute bizarre, extraordinary, gruesome and absolutely horrific case. I mean, like I've said before, when I've talked about this before, there ain't no business like Schabusiness, but when you not only kill your lover, you play with your lover's body and you dismember it, you make it everyone's business. Now, I am going to quickly share this out because, you know, it is as, oops, I'm like in my own life here. Oh goodness, I swear I'm terrible when it comes to the wee picture things. It's the nails. But yes, for everyone that's coming in, we are discussing the Taylor Schabusiness case. And a fun fact about Taylor Schabusiness, it's obviously no surprise to anybody, but Schabusiness was a made-up name. Completely made up. She changed it by deed poll. She had quite a average name. And before what she had done, Taylor Schabusiness actually has a little girl who was in foster care because of all the additional charges that she had had in relation to drug charges. And not a very nice person in the slightest. And certainly not with what she did here. Now, this is going to pause momentarily. I'm just going to quickly share this on the old WhatsApp. Thank you, Miragels. I just see if I can get a couple of people coming in. Hi, Bubblegum. Welcome in, everybody. Pause just momentarily. Oh, thank you so much, Bubblegum. But I will be back to you as soon as possible. Okay, I just need to quickly share this. I'm back. I told you I'd be fast. I just thought I'd quickly share it out to let people know that I'm here, and I'll be careful I'll not share it to people that are already here. I've got a bad habit of doing that. I also don't share it out, share my lives out often enough as well. Now, as well as obviously me talking about this, if you are seeing people in the comments section, please do give them a little follow. Engage with each other, follow each other, support each other as well. It's very much appreciated. But yeah, just it's been nice to build a little community, and there's nothing better than a supportive community who can help build you up and engage with each other's posts would be amazing as well. So for everybody coming in and I never heard the spiel to start with, I'm going to be talking about the gruesome killing of Shad Thyrion, whose killer was Taylor Schabusiness. And like I said as well, and it might sound a bit cheesy, but there ain't no business like Schabusiness until you not only kill your lover, dismember your lover, and play with your lover's body, then you make it everyone's business. So let's begin, and viewers' discretion is advised. It is quite a gruesome case. It shocked me, and I thought it was unshockable when I heard about this case. So I'll get into it. So, who is Taylor Schabusiness? So Taylor Schabusiness is an American woman from Wisconsin who was convicted of an utterly horrific and gruesome murder and is now actually involved with other legal proceedings. On the 21st of February 2022, Taylor Schabusiness and her friend, suggested lover, Shad Thyrion, returned to his mother's home after taking some drugs and alcohol. And they were going to continue this drug and alcohol-fueled party at his home, well, his mother's home actually, in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where he did live, and his mother's boyfriend, thank you, bubblegum, his mother's boyfriend also lived in the property as well. They went down to the basement, which was not uncommon for them both, and they were going to be settled in, as his mother thought, for maybe a day, maybe a couple of days. Wasn't, again, like I said, this wasn't uncommon. Taylor's child was in foster care because she was, thank you for the follow, she was a drug user. She had also went on the run at one point in a police officer's car. Thank you for the heart me, very much appreciated. During some adult activities, when they did begin to get amorous, thank you so much, Bubblegum, Taylor placed a dog chain around his neck and started strangling him. Now, Taylor told detectives that this was not uncommon between the two. There was 2 dog chains that were actually found in the basement after the crime. And not uncommon choke chains. That's ultimately what they were. Now, she didn't stop when she was just strangling him. No. She tightened the choke chain tighter and tighter and tighter. She recalled Shad gargling and turning purple, and she kept going until the light dimmed in his eyes and his heart stopped beating. Afterwards, hi Skelly. Afterwards, Taylor went up to the kitchen and retrieved some kitchen knives and started mutilating, thank you Skelly, Shad's body. And she used an adult toy to violate Shad's corpse. And she also told detectives during her confession that she was sucking and cutting. I told you, it's a gruesome one. Shad Thyrion, age 24, died from strangulation. A medical examiner testified that the injuries to his neck and signs of deep hemorrhaging were consistent with significant force applied to the neck, causing death. His face showed a purple discoloration. It is horrendous, and thank you so much for the heart me. I'm sorry I missed who they sent that. I do apologise, but thank you. His face showed a purple discoloration and internal hemorrhages. Burst blood vessels in the face, mouth and neck. Oh, thank you, Macy. Along with abrasions and indentations on his tongue consistent with being strangled. After Shad was dead, Taylor severely mutilated his body. His head was cut off and placed in a bucket along with his male organ, which had been separated. Other major portions of his body were quartered, bisected, or otherwise severed, including the torso. Limbs were removed. Organs were taken out, and ultimately she took out pretty much everything from his insides. And they were placed in bags, boxes, and containers. Also, yes, also known as the Americans were calling it tote containers or tote bag containers. I got confused at the time because a tote bag to me is a canvas bag, but it actually is one of the big sort of lidded containers. And that obviously his foot was also placed to the, so it was like the foot and ankle was placed in his emptied chest cavity. Taylor did attempt to clean up the basement. Blood was found in the drain of the shower. There was also signs that blood had been wiped. It looked like the mattress had been flipped over. There was a couple of mattresses there. And she did attempt to do quite a lot of concealment of what she had actually done. Like I said, she had placed his body parts in buckets, bags, totes, anything to obviously contain it. She actually said that she remembers Shad's mum letting the cat down the stairs. Good evening, Tara. Letting the cat down the stairs into the basement with them at some point, and was surprised that Shad's mum didn't see anything. But I think it was probably a case of she's opened the basement door, the cat's run in, she's closed the basement door, and that was to be left with it. Taylor spent 2 days playing with Shad's corpse. She told detectives that her preferred knife use was a bread knife because the serrated edge was easier to get through his body. 3 knives in total, if I can remember from the crime scene pictures, were used. Yeah, 2 days. She slept down there with him as well, and during that duration she was still taking quite a considerable amount of drugs. Before they had arrived at Shad's home, they had been drinking with a friend. They had used a borrowed vehicle. It was from her flatmate. It was like a van style vehicle. They had went by some of the devil's lettuce, some methadone, as well as surprisingly trazodone. Anybody that doesn't know, trazodone is an antidepressant and it helps you sleep. So it was quite a considerable drug-fueled party going on. And that was obviously happening at the time. And that was what she would use in her defence, that it was the drugs that made her do it. It's a crazy, the only other time that I've heard of a case where somebody is mutilated in such a significant way would probably be Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, there was at one point that it was suggested that she called him a hero. But during a recent prison call, which I believe was last year, to News Nation, she told the journalist that she didn't actually take any reference from Dahmer at all. She said that she had, thank you so much, Kelly, and she had said that she just done it. She got carried away. Thank you, Macy. She got carried away, and she just continued to do it. She said it was fun. And there was a picture that had been circulated that she had taken. She had a poster of Jeffrey Dahmer because this was meant to be a joke, because her other half was in jail for drug charges, and she had taken a picture and it was like a selfie, and she had a picture of Jeffrey Dahmer beside her, and she claimed, as a joke, this is my boyfriend. So her friends thought she was a bit crazy, and that's why it was suggested, good evening, Joe, it was suggested that because, specifically with the mutilation of, and the dismemberment, and the foot found in the chest cavity, that's why it was suggested that she, was inspired by Dahmer But she said she wasn't. She said she wasn't inspired by him at all. Oops, it was a fabrication. Hello, Jillian. I hope you're well. I hope everybody's well, actually. Sorry, I do apologise. I'm so terrible at, like, not, like, doing a bit more engagement when I'm obviously talking about a case, so I apologise. His body part, I'd already said about that, had been placed throughout the basement, and had also been, some of his body parts were also taken into, excuse me, a borrowed vehicle. So parts of his body were found in the basement in different places, and parts of his body were taken away. Allegedly, she was wanting to take it all away, but she was tired. She said she got lazy. In the early hours of the 23rd of February, and remember this all started on the 21st of February, it's like I said, 2 days. On the early hours of the 23rd of February, Shad's mum heard the storm door of the basement slam, which awoke her. She went downstairs and noticed that Taylor's vehicle was gone. She went down to the basement and noticed a bucket covered by a towel by the stairs. Removing the towel, she would, to her absolute sheer horror, find her son's head as well as his severed and separated genitalia and blood in the bucket. She returned back up the stairs and called 911 and told them of the horrific discovery. I've listened, it's horrific. I've heard the 911 call. I'm not in my room, or I would have pulled it up on my PC. And she had to give the phone to her boyfriend because she couldn't continue to say what it was that she had found, because who would ever believe that they would go down the stairs in their home and find their son's head in a bucket, as well as obviously the genitalia and etc. as well. Utterly horrific, utterly terrifying, utterly like gobsmacking. And there was only one person that and I don't know if that paused. So there was only one person it could be, and that was Taylor Schabusiness. Sorry, it was a timer that I put on so I don't stay on TikTok too long. Oh well. Not long after the arrival of the police officers, they were led to Taylor. Oh, haha. Where's your volume? Why can I not hear it? Ah. Okay. I've got the 911 call.
How may I help you? Yes, I live in officer at 829 Stony Brook. Girlfriend just woke me up and swears that she found her severed head of her son in the basement. Okay, can you repeat the address, sir? 829 Stony Brook. Okay, S-T-O-N-E-Y? Is it E-Y, right? Yes. No E. Just L-Y. Is that a house, apartment, or duplex? It's a house. What's your phone number? My number is 327-3748. My name's Steve. 327-3748? Yes.
Thank you, Julian.
Okay, tell me what's happening there again. I have no clue what's happening. My girl swears that she found her severed head of her son in the basement. Did you go down there? In a bucket. I went down. I can't tell what the fuck. Part of my language. I'm kind of a little freaked out. Okay. Did she just wake up and say that? Yeah. And whose head is it? She's claiming it's her son. How old is her son? 24, 25. Has he been missing, or? No, he was here yesterday with some chick, and then a sudden nobody's here. And she came up to use the restroom a couple times. And she keeps calling and calling. And now she's saying that she hears the phone down there too.
Okay. Is she with you right now?
Yes, she's upstairs. She's a little freaked out. And I don't know what to do.
Okay. All right. Stay on the line. And you said you went down there, correct?
Yeah, and I lifted the towel, but I can't see very well, and I can't tell what the hell it is.
So there's something in the bucket.
There's something in the goddamn bucket there.
Okay.
If she ran back again, I don't know what the hell, man.
Do you think she's hallucinating, or do you think that...
I don't think so. I went down and there's something in the damn bucket. I can't, I don't know, man. She's a little freaked out and kind of freaking me out.
What's your girlfriend's last name?
Pakanek.
How do you spell that?
Oh, he said, you want to spell it? Pakanichich.
N-I-C-H. What's her first name?
Tara.
What's her middle initial, date of birth?
What's your middle initial? Hello?
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 Yeah, I'm still here.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yep.
Okay. What's her date of birth?
What's the date of birth? 5/14/74.
All right, can I talk to her?
Yes, you can.
Hello?
Hi, Tara. So can you tell me what's going on?
Great President, my son's head is in a bucket, my own bucket in my basement.
What makes you think that?
Because I looked in the bucket,
And what did you see?
exactly what I told you.
Okay, where's the rest of the body at?
No idea.
When's the last time you saw your son?
Well, I guess today is Wednesday, so I picked him up from his dad's on Monday. And because he doesn't normally stay here, he's been staying here for a few days, but I left the laundry. He was here a couple hours, then he left with Taylor. And they had some days. Taylor,
Who's that?
girl, Taylor Coronado.
You know how to spell her last name?
Coronado. No, not exactly. But it's the common spelling from around here.
All right, that is
He
cool.
went to middle school and high school with her. I don't know if he doesn't live with me.
When's the last time you saw him?
Well, he left with her. They both came back. I believe they both came back while we were sleeping Monday night. And I assume they slept all day yesterday, so I haven't seen him since Monday night physically. I thought they were sleeping all day. I was gone for a little while yesterday, Tuesday, and he's 25 and I'm going to basement.
All right.
What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Well, we've got help.
And then I heard my door and her minivan start. And I went downstairs and I went to the bathroom. The lights were out in the basement. And I went and turned them off. And I looked around and I was there. So then when I turned around to come back upstairs, there was a 5-gallon bucket with a towel over it. And I'm like, oh great, that's why they're out here all day yesterday. They were pissing in a bucket. And I looked and that is not what was in that bucket.
What is your son's name?
Shad Thyrion.
T-H-A-D.
S-H-A-D.
How do you spell his last name?
Thyrion.
What's his date of birth?
9797.
Is there blood down there?
No.
Okay. All right, ma'am. I have officers that are headed over to your house right now, okay?
Head over.
Okay, I'll go down there.
I guess just stay away from it. Just stay away.
From that area, but
Fucking A.
we're in the second level, so we're gonna go down to the kitchen and not to the basement.
Okay,
We can
yeah.
answer the door and stuff.
Okay, all right, ma'am.
is sleeping fine.
Excuse me?
My 16-year-old daughter is here sleeping, and they do not make a lot of noise. I don't know.
Okay, just let them know that. I'm sure they won't try, okay?
My head can jump out of my head for being so...
And, I mean, you're sure it could be like a fake head or something?
I'm not touching it. I'm not looking at it again.
Okay. All right, ma'am. Just go ahead and wait for the officers, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Obviously, you can hear, like, during that, as calm as she sounds, you can hear that she's mumbling. I think that, in my personal opinion, she's probably still in quite a considerable amount of shock. I mean, she didn't see any blood. She went down, she didn't see any blood. And in her own words, it wasn't until she turned round that she thought that the reason why they had left was, yeah, total shock. Is because they pissed in a bucket. So that suggests it's probably been done before for her to say, oh great, that's why they left, because they pissed in a bucket. And then for her to uncover that and find what she had found. Your head would be trying to, like, try and make it not real. It's because obviously finding your own son, your own child in just the head, because that's what she would have primarily saw. Probably she wouldn't have realised that the genitalia was in there as well. But for that, I think your head would try and mask a certain amount of things as well. And I think for once, the 911 responder, I actually thought did a really good job in ensuring that there was the calmness and stuff. And I actually forgot that there was a 16-year-old in that property as well, which, like, it's horrible what she had done. And like I did say, she did do a really quite good job in cleaning up to a degree, because his mum never saw any blood at all. But it wouldn't be until the crime scene investigators, obviously, they had to pull the whole basement apart, and then when they would find the parts as body parts in the bags, in the totes, and that's when they would discover the blood. And obviously in the shower, because as it sounds like the toilet was up the stairs, but the shower itself it was a semi-ensuite without a bath, without a toilet, sorry. It was just a standalone shower, and that was off in a separate room. And Taylor had actually poured his bloods down the plug hole in the shower. And when crime scene investigators had obviously come in to take pictures and review and obviously do the needful, and they had obviously found a specific amount, and obviously there would have been some skin and not like I said, it's a horrible one. It's gruesome. What she did was disgusting, depraved, almost. And all roads led to Taylor. When the officers arrived at Taylor's apartment complex where she was staying, they found her vehicle. They found the vehicle quite easily, and they also found bloody footprints leading to the apartment and building. She wasn't shocked to see them at all. When they asked her if she knew why they were there, because of the murder. Obviously there was specific body parts of Shad's that was found within the borrowed vehicle, and Taylor was still wearing the clothes that she had worn to commit the murder, sorry. So she had blood on her shoes, she had blood on the grey tracksuit bottoms, she was wearing a dark coat over the top, but you could see the cuffs, there was blood on the cuffs, and she had cuts to her hands as well. She did have blood still on her hands, so she never cleaned herself up very well. And she knew why she was getting arrested. When she was taken into the police station, obviously they did interviews. I've got the recording of a majority of the confession somewhere, but it's really mumbled, it's really muttered, and the last when I posted it before, the initial video got muted because of some of the things she was saying. Then I was able to post it again, and it was allowed to stay up at that time. She does, and I refuse to put the captions on it because some of what she's saying, you do not have to hear what she is talking about at all. She was almost gleeful when she was getting interviewed and when she confessed. She'd even asked detectives at one point that she said, "Have you ever loved something or someone enough that you just have to kill it?" She told them that she enjoyed killing him and how she watched the light dim in his eyes as he died. She said she played with his body and that she had left the head as she was too lazy to go back for it. She was planning to remove all of Shad from the basement, but she was too tired, and in her words, too lazy. She was really flippant in regards to the way she confessed as well. She was it was blasé. She was gleeful at times. She was laughing about it. Some people will say that that's because of the drug use that she had been taking. There was no regard to Shad's at all. She wanted to know what it was like to kill. She enjoyed the feeling of it. It was more than just a kink of strangulation during sex. It went way past that. Way past the point. She could have stopped. She said that it took longer than what she thought for her heart to stop beating as well. And like I said earlier, she described what weapon, the knives that she had used. She went up the stairs to the kitchen after killing Shad and decided that she was going to start cutting him up. I said she used an adult toy on his body, and which was a violation of a corpse. And like I'd said it before, she told detectives that she was sucking and cutting, or cutting and sucking, one of the two. But either way, it was the same. Either way, regardless of what order it was in. Like I said, it was gleeful. It was quite disturbing. I never expected when I watched it, I never expected it to be so open, and then I realised why they had never released the interview tape prior to the trial as well, because that was evidence. That was her confessing to exactly what she had done, and there was no way she could back out of that. There was no other person that had done this. No other person at all. But surprise, surprise, Taylor Schabusiness had pulled the insanity card. She claimed that she had borderline personality disorder. She had a diagnosis of that in the past, which may explain why she had the trazodone in the first place. She'd also said that it was, like, it is atrocious. It's absolutely horrible what she had actually done, and like so much respect to his family. I can't even imagine what they went through. It's especially finding your own son like that. That must do something to your brain forever. There's no altering that. That's going to be burned in her brain forever. And it's a shame, because she would have much preferred to remember a Shad like this rather than Shad how she found him. She also acted out. She is vile. She acted out in jail, and while she was awaiting trial, She would refuse to get dressed. She stood naked on a table in the cafeteria place where she was eating. She refused to take any of her medications. She refused to see a psychiatrist. She would trash her holding cell, because that's ultimately what it is, quite a considerable amount of times. There was a considerable amount of Taylor Schabusiness antics while she was in jail, because she was desperate to play the insanity card. If she played the insanity card, she believed that one day she would be able to walk free, to walk out of jail and live her life as normal. However, just to add, in February 2023, whilst she was in a competency and continue hearing, she would suddenly, out of the blue, attack her attorney. It took... yeah, she does need to be in a jacket to a degree, but at the end of the day, she's a psycho. So she's in the right place. In my personal opinion. She had attacked her own attorney. It was Taylor attacks. That was the first time that she had ever attacked her attorney as well. She literally just gets up and goes for him. It took numerous officers to take her down and restrain her. And she tried. She was desperate. She knew what she had done was wrong. She was desperate to pull anything to get out of jail. So anything to make her look insane. And what better way than to attack your own attorney who's defending you? That's a great way to prove your insanity, that you're not compos mentis, that you don't realise what you're doing, that you could act out in violence at the blink of an eye. It was an act. The courts, however, did see through it, and she was deemed sane to stand trial, or competent to stand trial. During the 3-day trial, when his injuries were getting described, with what she did to Shad was being described, she was laughing and smirking and finding this funny. At one point, and I'm going to do this, and I hope TikTok don't ban me for this one, she did that to the judge, like what she was going to shoot him. She acted out. It was no remorse in the slightest. She was playing up, obviously, for the jury, because the jury weren't just to decide if she was guilty of murder, as well as the sexual assault of a corpse. They were also to determine if she was sane, and if drug use could be used as part of, if she was competent of doing it, if she knew what she was doing, competency and stuff, you know, the usual. I mean, it was not my fault, it was the drugs that did it. And when, after the 3-day trial, which went so much faster than what I was expecting it to last longer, I watched the trial. If anybody is here that follows After Dark Coffee and Crime, she streamed the live both on YouTube and here. We watched it. It went by so much faster than what I was expecting. I was expecting a week, if not more, out of that. We were desperate for her to take a stand. It would have been a massive mistake, and which is why obviously defences went, no, she's not taking the stand. But we thought she would. We thought we would hear her, well, I suppose, kick off in court, because it was expected at that point. Taylor had portrayed an act of insanity, of craziness, of somebody that would just act on impulse. She bring in something where if you claims murder due to drug, okay, 10 years old, to added 10 sentence. Yeah. I knew what you meant with the red rum. So, in Wisconsin, it had been decided that drug use does not impair or prohibit a person's actions. And it was decided that the claim of the being under the influence would not fly in court, which was a great decision on the court's part. I applaud them massively for that. The jury on part 1 of where they found her sane, they did find her sane on the 26th of July 2023. And they also found Taylor Schabusiness guilty of first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault on a corpse, and for obviously the killing and dismemberment of Shad. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole on the 26th of September 2023. Now, you would possibly think that apart from appeals against this, that Taylor would probably want to disappear, but that's not Taylor Schabusiness. She's in your business now, so she's going to continue to stay in your business. At the end of the day, her having her surname of it's for use of it's none of your business. Like I said, once you kill somebody, once you mutilate a corpse, once you play with a body, you make your business everyone's business. It's no longer a case of mind your own. But Taylor wasn't one to go silently. Taylor loved, obviously, the attention. She liked being outside the court. She liked doing things. And on the 24th of July, 2024, while serving at the Techida, and if I said this wrong, I am so sorry. It's the only way I've been able to read it. Correctional institution. Schabusiness allegedly attacked a prison nurse and correctional officer during a medical visit to remove a staple from her arm. She used a metal tray and table to attack the nurse and the correction officer. Guards had to use pepper spray to subdue her, leading to new charges for battery by a prisoner, which can hold a federal charge and to go to trial for a federal trial. And on the 4th of April 2025, during a hearing relating to the prison assault charge, Taylor Schabusiness attacks again. She attacked her defense attorney completely suddenly. And she was pinned again by law enforcement officers. And instead of continuing with this, they decided that they were going to continue the hearing via video. And it is, I've seen them both, and it is just a complete out the blue attack. Yeah, the second one, her defense attorney is talking about her, and then she turns around, looks at him, glares at him, and then just gets up and lunges. And he was defending her. Which is crazy. But again, like I said, Taylor was still trying to push for the insanity. She had an appeal coming up. She was desperate to get her sentence overturned. She didn't want to be in jail for as long as she was charged for. She didn't want to die in jail. Of course she's not want to die in jail. So she figured, if I just continue to play the insane card, I'm up in court again. This is for this. So let's attack my attorney again. Let's act crazy. Let's show that the sentence in her eyes was unfair and she should be resentenced to a lesser charge of, and I'm guessing it would probably going to be second-degree murder and manslaughter. She would never have got involuntary manslaughter because of the mutilation as well as sexual assault upon a corpse, and for her clearing up the scene Like, it was abuse. It was pure abuse of a corpse. And she confessed. Be all and end all, she did confess to what she did. I've watched the full confession. It is lengthy. It is weird. It is horrible. It is difficult to hear her at times because she does mumble a lot, and obviously the cameras within the interview, if you've ever watched them, you know yourself, they only pick up a certain amount. And it's disturbing. It's incredibly disturbing. I mean, who in the right mind talks about cutting and sucking at the same time? Like, and describing what it's like to kill somebody and talking about and being gleeful. But anywho, obviously she had an appeal. As within, which it's up to everybody's rights, unless they plead guilty, then they don't have grounds for appeal, unless they decide that they are going to say that they never got correct counsel. So, June 2025, her appeal of her murder conviction was dismissed by Wisconsin Court of Appeals. Did the right thing. And Taylor Schabusiness actually pleaded no contest to a reduced charge of misdemeanor disorderly conduct to save her facing a felony trial in October 2025. And December, just there, at Fond du Lac County hearing, she was sentenced to an additional 90 days on top of her life sentence without possibility of parole. That was added to her sentence for a disorderly conduct charge. And it was known that the injured sergeant, so the prison correctional officer, was unable to return to work for her because of her injuries. So I've got to grab a hold of the body cam footage is out there for the attack that she did. So I will find it, and when I find it, I will post it, obviously, with all the trigger warnings on it. And Taylor, for once, offered an apology in court for the attack on the correctional officer. She actually admitted to what she did. But there's no more appeal for Taylor. She's guilty. She's guilty as charged. She will never get out of jail. She will die in jail. And quite rightly so. Will she still play act? I do believe that she may do so. But given the fact that, you know, she knew that she could, she had the right to appeal. It's a human right. It's in everywhere unless you plead guilty. She had the appeal coming up, so let's act out in her eyes further. And it's you know, I feel so bad for Shad's family, especially his mum, and knowing that she keeps herself, or has kept herself, in the limelight as well, with these attacking, with the attacks on the correctional officer as well as the nurse, with the additional attack on her attorney as well. Everything about Taylor screams attention for somebody that's called herself Schabusiness, as in none of your Schabusiness. She really likes to keep herself in the limelight. She really likes to keep herself in the centre of attention. And it was just like the News Nation prison call that I'd heard from her. Again, there was no remorse. There's never been an iota of remorse for what she did to Shad. And never once. Shad's mum has got to live with what she's, and obviously the boyfriend as well, but it's the mum primarily because she made him, has got to live with what she had found for the rest of her life. And I think that it's a form of torment that Taylor has continued to do to Shad's mum. It's horrible. It is, like I said, that's why I said all the warnings to start with. It is an incredibly gruesome case. It is horrible. It's horrific. What she did was disgusting. There's no you can't excuse that. You can't just blame it on the drugs. You can't blame it on a drug and alcohol binge for that to have happened, because the fact that she tried to clean it up, it's very, very telling. And she had known Shad for, as his mum even said, since they were in kindergarten. Like, all that time that they had been friends. He stood by her even with her charges that she had. Yes, she had some naughty charges with drugs attached to himself as well. But I'm not talking about that, because it was nothing like what she had done, really. I've only mentioned it because I know there is a mugshot out there of him. But I didn't want to use the mugshot because why would I? Why would I use a mugshot? Yeah, well, it's premeditated. It was premeditated, I do agree, Skelly. If you're that out of it, you can do what you've done. Doubt you're doing a good cleaner job. Yes, agree. And the fact that his mum didn't see blood showed how much she had actually cleaned. And it's like, when you actually see the crime scene pictures, the lack, considering she dismembered him as well, the lack of blood that's actually on the mattress and stuff was significantly lowered than what you would expect, because you know, it takes some force to cut through a body, and she said to the detectives that she preferred the bread knife, because she cut through. That was an easier way to cut through. So she didn't. Yeah, I do believe that. Maybe there was a bit of impairment with the drug use, or she was just generally exhausted because she just dismembered a whole ass body and bagged it up. And she was intending to remove his whole body, but as she said, she got lazy. That's why there wasn't as much in the van than what she was initially intending. She didn't want to keep going back and forth up down the stairs to get the rest of the body to conceal what she had done. But she had cleaned up a considerable amount, and it has been known that she probably used some buckets in order to drain some of the blood as well, because, like I said, there was a lot of blood that had been clearly, evidently poured down the drain of the shower as well. So she done everything to clean it up. And the fact that if it wasn't, I suppose, I think she was exhausted because chopping up takes a lot of effort. She did sleep down the stairs after she had killed Shad. She did take a rest. She took a wee rest, bless her. She was all tired. That's an annoyance thing for me as well, as a bit of mockery, because at the end of the day, we can mock a murderer, because that's exactly what she is. She's a vile murderer. Yeah, she had a wee snooze. It was the 21st of February was when they went into the basement, and the early hours of the 23rd of February was when Shad's body was found. So, good portion of 2 days. I say a good portion because some people will say it's a day and a half, but a good portion of 2 days. And the amount of, from what was said, the amount of drugs and alcohol that was in her body, she would have probably passed out at some point as well. That does sound like she was exhausted, but she knew what she was doing. Scally, I agree. I 100% agree. I've yet to... the only person that I have heard that has defended Taylor Schabusiness at all is her partner, who was in jail, but I don't know if he got out. He called himself Mr. Schabusiness. They weren't actually officially married, but he called her his wife, said that he was standing by her on Facebook posts. So for me, she should have got the injection. Yeah. What firing squad? do what she get what she said that she was going to do to the judge when she basically threatened to shoot him. Like, who does that in court? I get she was trying to pull insanity, but come on. I know that, although to be fair, I know that judges have been attacked from defendants before, but it was her whole demeanour of it. I mean, when she was back in court in December, I only realised that that's what that clip is from, which when I was thinking about that, when she was back in court in December, there was a clip of her getting wheeled into a strapped, sort of like a chair. Obviously this is protection for her from her attorney, and she's got a full mask sort of thing on. It's like a towelled mask because it comes all the way down. Surely someone will get her on the inside though. Staff should be busy since she attacked him too. You would think so, especially the fact that one of them never came back to work. But when she had actually appeared in court for her plea hearing in December, she's in the orange jumpsuit. If you're not wearing normal clothes, especially if you're attacked in jail as well, and you're not getting out of jail no matter what. But she's strapped up. And she's got one of these big sort of towels that are draped over her. And her attorney says, can we remove the restraints from Miss Schabusiness because we know each other and we trust each other. And she looks at him, and I kid you not, it's like this. She just goes, and it's a look of utter death. Like she glares at him, and it is a look of death. And I was so surprised that the attorney could sit there and say, can you please take the restraints off my client, given the fact that it's not just one attorney she's attacked, it's two. But then, like I did state, it shows to me that she only attacked the attorneys because she was pushing for the insanity. The plea is done. The appeal is done. There's no more appeals for this. She will rot in jail where she belongs. But it was a lead up to that, so she attacked the attorney, and maybe that's what the attorney meant by that we know each other, we have a sort of relationship, he trusts her, is purely because there's no reason for her to attack again. So that's most likely why he said that. But still, that look of death, if looks could kill, yeah, that attorney would have been dead. And it was a very similar look that she had given the attorney before she had attacked him the second time as well. I wouldn't trust that. No, she deserves all that 23 and 1. Actually, she deserves 24/7 in solitary confinement as far as I'm concerned. She doesn't deserve to have that 1 hour freedom or getting all those nice stuff in her jail cell with a prison cell, jail cell, prison cell. From the commissary. She deserves absolutely nothing. And there will be fanboys for Taylor. Prison has, pre-trial, did age her considerably. Like, I remember when a deep dive before, obviously, the trial, I deep dived her Facebook, because it was still there at the time, and saw the pictures, and I feel so bad for her daughter as well. Her daughter, who was put in care because Taylor wasn't a very good person in the first place with the drugs charges, misdemeanors and what have you. Why she was out in the first place, I have no idea, because she skipped states at one point when I actually deep dived Taylor and found out how utterly, like, in a way, without, maybe not legally or psychiatry, but how crazy she was or is. But she deserves all the bad stuff. And I'm not, I'm talking about it because there was obviously there was a conclusion in December. It's nice to get a conclusion from something like this, I suppose. Shad now does have justice. His murderer will spend the rest of her life rotting behind bars. And from what Lockdown 23 and 1 on YouTube says, and what Larry Lawton says as well, like, if it's a 23 and 1 situation, it's not something that is really a life as well. Although I say that and I think about all the people that are in jail and that are selling artwork. However, it's not really something that's, there's no freedom there. You're watched all the time. You're watched 24/7. You're in basically a dog run kennel type thing when you're allowed to go outside. And that's if you're allowed to go outside, because some of them, that's their shower time. So they don't actually get to get some fresh air at all. But she deserves solitary confinement for the rest of her life for what she did. It's depraved. It's a complete act of depravity. It is gruesome. It is disgusting. It's horrific. It was a basement of horror. Once obviously the 23rd of February came, that's a basement of horror now. There's no other way about that. Shad's mum's got to live with that for the rest of her life. There's no redeeming factors about Taylor, and she probably only done the apology to the correction officer because she knew she was going to be going back to jail. So it was probably her way of trying to get the guards on side, or find a way at least to get the guards on side, because she was done. And if you've injured a correction officer, I'm sure they don't treat you very well in jail either. I'm sure they treat you really quite badly. I'm sure they'd find any reason for you to put you in solitary confinement, because she shouldn't have any rights in the first place. But I do think that some cases like that, these are the types of cases that deserve the death penalty, in my opinion. Because it was horrible. But it is the utter gruesome, horrific killing of Shad Thyrion, and obviously thank you all for getting to here. I'm gonna take this down and we can actually decompress a little bit, because it is a difficult one to talk about. Like, I've got the diagram picture of the autopsy as well. It's on my Discord, because Taylor got her own little channel on my Discord as well, because I'd obviously followed it. I just wish I had put all the videos up there when I'd initially had them before I lost my other account, but it is what it is. I can get some of the videos that I do have out there anyway, so people can see it. I do have a recording on my Discord of the doctor that performed the autopsy on Shad there too. So I will make sure to pop that up on TikTok so you can have a little watch. And if I can find the condensed down confession again, I'll make sure to post it as well so you can hear it, and I'll do a quick run through of this in a much shorter video, obviously, for you all. But this will, if you still want to watch this again, it will get posted on my YouTube tomorrow at the latest, in regards to this, so you are more than welcome to obviously recap and watch it again if you wish. I'm Banana Ann over on YouTube. But what's your word? I know I've been saying, I hope I caught most of your comments, and I'm so sorry if I never, like, sometimes it can be really difficult to catch the comments because I'm seeing all the likes. But if I've not caught your comment and you had a question or something, then obviously feel free to repost the comment or question. I'm happy to answer it if I've got an answer. But what's your thoughts on this? I know we had a few comments coming up on the way about the fact that she knew what she was doing, it was wrong, she should get a lethal injection and stuff. But what's everybody else's thoughts on this? Because you can clearly know mine. Sorry, I'm just going to wait for a comment to pop up. Or not. It's absolutely fine. It is good. She doesn't deserve to be on this earth. I agree. Yeah, I bet Shad's mum would have loved to have had that few minutes alone. My life, I can waffle all I want. Leave who alone? Leave Taylor Schabusiness alone, who brutally murdered somebody and dismembered somebody and played with the body afterwards. Yeah, no. I'm discussing a case that had obviously happened, so I talk true crime. If you don't like it, scroll on in a nice possible way. But do thank you for the rose, though. I still say Pavel Gia Island empty and Italy, ship them there with nothing. Yeah, let them survive by going on the attack of each other. I mean, she was nice enough to still send a rose out, even though she wasn't quite happy about what I was talking about for some reason. So, you know, I'd like to thank her for the rose. And even if it is a wee troll comment, I mean, it does mean it comes on to... what people seem to forget when they do decide that they're going to do a little troll. So if you go into somebody's live and decide to pop a troll comment up, if the creator doesn't block you, that my content will start appearing on said person's For You page. Shame that, eh? So for anybody that does pop in and decide that they're going to put a couple of comments up and then drop me a rose and stuff, yeah, have fun seeing me popping up more often. See if I'll leave you alone. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think the comment was meant to say leave you alone. That's the point of a live really. Yeah, it was just weird because she told me to stop waffling to start with and then said leave her alone. Yeah, like I said, I pretty much dropped it as it is. Like I would, if I really went into, like I said, I'm going to leave it for I'm going to download the video that's on my Discord and post it afterwards of the autopsy findings. So you can actually get an idea of what it actually was, and I'll make sure to put a picture up because he shows the picture slightly, but I've got the full picture up of where specific injuries etc. were found on Shad and where specific cuts were, especially where he was cut from the ankle down, which was put, like I said, put into his chest. I didn't see the stop waffle comment. Sounds like the talking end of scream. It is. It's Jade, like I'd said when I was talking about it, the only other case that I've probably heard that's been quite so horrific was Dahmer, and which, as well as her taking that selfie with a poster of Dahmer and kidding on that it was her boyfriend to make herself look a bit crazy to her friends or make it a joke or whatever. Obviously they said that she was inspired by Dahmer, and she said in a interview with News Nation last year, during a prison call interview, that she wasn't inspired by Dahmer at all, that the whole Dahmer thing was obviously meant to be just a joke. Do you think he
Stab me.
He wanted, so if you're oh, I know you're probably you think she wanted the entirety of it. No, it's absolutely fine. Yeah, I do, especially the fact that she was acting out a lot. And this should have been probably done, it should have been in court faster, because it was obvious who had done it. And this wasn't a blame on the backlog from COVID cases either. Everything was delayed because of whether or not she was able to stand trial, where she was competent to stand trial. There was competency hearings, there was continued hearings. So there was numerous hearings that was put in place, but because maybe she never got the attention that she initially wanted. Because what drew my attention to her case was when I saw the video of her attacking her attorney. So as soon as I found out that somebody had attacked an attorney, of course I went, oh, I wonder what this is about. So it did bring a lot of attention to her. And I think she liked the attention. I think for her, this was probably drew quite a considerable amount of attention, and as well as to act insane, attacking an attorney, of course that's going to hit all the newspapers. Of course it's going to hit 5 o'clock news that evening. You know, it's going to be talked about. It's going to be widely spread. The videos are going to be shared as well. It is going to get talked about quite a lot. It's a shame because, obviously, like I always said, you know, Shad deserves to be the forefront of the attention from this. But because of all her antics that she has done, it's really easy for Shad to be lost in it all, which is a shame. And I do it with the Taylor Schabusiness case, which is why I started off by saying, because initially I would just say the Taylor Schabusiness case, but I'm like, no, I shouldn't. It was it should be a Shad that's spoke about to at least to the forefront, as opposed to it being all about her. But as she's made herself, she's committed a crime that does give herself notoriety, and because of the gruesome nature of it, it's never going to be forgotten about. Like, and I know I'm comparing it, and obviously Dahmer was a lot worse, but when you think about Dahmer, a lot of times when somebody says to me Jeffrey Dahmer, I immediately think about the Polaroids, which were horrible. So for me, if somebody mentions obviously Taylor Schabusiness, I think about the fact that she emptied his internal organs and put his foot in his chest. Like, that's what I think. It's not even the head in the bucket. It's because that's what stuck out in my head, the fact that she had enough compos mentis-ness, or was compos mentis enough. I think that was probably the correct word, because I don't think compos mentis-ness is the proper word, to be able to do that. So yeah, you can't blame that on a drug and alcohol fueled act. This was beyond that. So it is a shame, because Shad does get overshadowed, and it should be more about him than her. But I suppose the good thing is, because that's her done, there's hopefully not going to be any more court appearances from her, because her appeals are done, etc. Hopefully that's the end of it. That she'll just disappear. She'll be another murderer on 23-1 in jail until she dies, and then that'll be the end of for her. But like I said, I do feel incredibly sorry for her daughter. That poor little innocent child that's got to grow up knowing what her mum done as well. It must be really quite significantly tough for her, unless she's at the age where she won't know, and maybe that'd be the best thing for her as well. So there's difficult ones, and like I said, the case was astonishing in all the worst ways, if that makes sense, because it must take it takes a considerable amount of force to cut up a body, you know, and she did it with knives, normal average kitchen knives, not chainsaws or anything like that. Literally just purely did it. No, it was called, I think Wisconsin does have a death penalty, but given the nature of this, I don't think death penalty was decided upon because they had to have a certain amount of the fact that they had to take into consideration there was drugs and alcohol used, and there was also the fact that she does suffer from mental illnesses as well, so that did take into consideration. When a defendant, usually, not always, but usually or primarily, when a defendant that has been found guilty of murder and there's a death penalty in the state, if there's mental illness there, even if the insanity plea is not there, like Idaho, for example, you have Lori Vallow-Daybell, who had obviously tried to say that she was insane, that she had nothing to do with our kids' murders, as well as obviously Tammy Daybell's murder as well. Because there is mental illness there, that's why she wouldn't get the death penalty, whereas Shad Thyrion was given the death penalty. So if there is any time where a lot of places, even if the insanity is taken off the table, just in general, the death penalty won't be used, which in some ways can be a little bit crueler, because now that I've heard a lot of stories about what happens in jails, especially American jails, they're pretty brutal. I mean, you've got the brutal cases in the UK as well, where, you know, inmates have been murdered by other inmates. But with watching the YouTubers that I've been watching that have been ex-cons, they're not been murderers, by the way. I wouldn't watch a murderer. But ex-cons and the stuff that I do watch, they're jewel thieves, and, well, that one's diamond thief, one's a gang thief. And they talk about like a solitary confinement and what it's like, and what 23 and 1 is actually like and stuff, and how easy it can be for if a convict wants to get to another convict enough, there's always ways and means to do it. So you never know what's around the corner. And when you think about the Doomsday Murders or Doomsday Mum, Lori Vallow-Daybell, I mean, she took Latter-day Saints to a whole other level. Her and Chad are like, that was full on cult, more so than what the Latter-day Saints are anyway, because they're a lot more extreme than the Mormons, just in general. And like, Laurie's crazy to a degree. Of course, Idaho doesn't have the insanity defense as well, which is nice. But yeah, that's the way. And like, she's got to suffer, and it's also kids that was killed as well. And one of the kids, little JJ, he was adopted by her too. So it's like, that makes it, I suppose, in a lot of people's eyes, that would actually make it a lot worse as well, that she chose to adopt a child and then kill the child. Kind of makes it, the murder of a child, that little bit worse, because you were meant to, you chose. That wasn't just you fell pregnant and had a child. You chose to adopt a child. So I will do a live on that case at some point as well, because there's been a lot since I last covered it. There's been more, because there was obviously the charges that were brought against her, and yeah, I hope she does suffer as well. But there was the charges that were brought against her in Arizona and stuff, with her killed husband and the attempted murder and stuff. So I'm gonna cover Lori case again, because, and I will bring up her ramblings in Idaho court, because By golly, did she not ramble. But it'd be a good one to cover, because I'd like to hear other people's opinions on that as well, because especially how the children were found and stuff. No, it's a what is it? Nobody can tell me otherwise. That was all about money. It was about love, sex, money, and power. That's what that case is primarily about. But the main motive surrounding that case was definitely with Chad and Laurie, was all about the money, because it was life insurance policies, a lot of them, and they needed money and they were desperate for money. So yeah, I will cover that one. I'll maybe pull something together tomorrow to actually cover that, but it'll be a bit a longer one. Thank you very much for the follow, Jade. But that one will be a bit a longer one, because a lot to unpack for that one. There's a big timeline to go through, because you have to bring up Laurie's past marriages and stuff in order to get fully all through it. I need to see if I can actually find the video on that, which I did before the additional trials in Arizona. But it's an interesting one. It's a how can somebody do that type thing, and then when you actually look into them and what kind of people they actually are, and even with her crazy ramblings in court. Yeah, it's a good one to. I think it's bad when I say a good one, but when I say it's a good one, thank you so much, Jade. When I say it's a good one, I mean it's an interesting one to break up, go through, and discuss, because everybody always has a different opinion in regards to any case, like anything at all. And talking about cases, obviously, like I said, it gives the victims a voice. Like I was hoping to give Shad as much of a voice as I could, which is why I kept mentioning Shad rather than just calling him by his surname. Because I think it's only fair. He was a person, and he was murdered in such a brutal way. So it'd be nice to give all the victims and the Doomsday mum murder case, or murder cases, I should really say, because it gives all the victims a little voice in that regard as well. Because you know me, I'm all about giving the voiceless a back of their voice. So, and even if they never had a voice to begin with. Well, to be fair, I think that I should. I'm coming up for about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more now. So I'm actually thinking I'm a little bit tired. You would think after all the sleep that I had yesterday that would have been enough, but I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and it's now 10:20. So I'm probably going to call it a night myself. But I'd like to thank you all for being here. Thank you very much for the new follows as well. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for all the taps. At 50.2, user absolutely smash the taps every single time that he's come in, so I really do appreciate it. But I'll be back tomorrow. This time I will try to be closer to 8 o'clock, I promise, because I know I've been late, but I was working, so it was allowed today, but I'm not tomorrow. So good night, everybody. Thank you again for being here. Remember, please do follow each other back, and I will see you all on the mean streets of TikTok, of course, and I will see you all tomorrow. Good night, everyone.